The state legislature has 7 working days left until they close up and leave for the year. That means that nearly 1,000 pieces of proposed legislation are being considered in the final days of the 2021-22 legislative session. August 31st at midnight is the deadline for most legislation to be considered by the legislature. This is the time of year our government affairs team shifts its focus. From testifying on behalf of neighborhood restaurants in legislative committees where select lawmakers are present, to lobbying the full state Senate and Assembly as lawmakers spend each day now voting on mountains of bills a day. There are still many bills the CRA is working for and against this year, but here is one of the biggest. AB 257 is one of the most far-reaching and damaging proposals the restaurant community has seen in decades. AB 257 directly attacks counter-service and fast casual restaurants by outsourcing lawmaking for workplace rules to an unelected council. This so-called sector council would impose new workplace mandates. Those new mandates would include wage hikes, team member scheduling restrictions, and many other labor and health and safety standards that are currently set by the legislature and enforced by state regulators. Yes, you heard that right. Lawmakers would give up some of their own lawmaking authority to empower a commission to set workplace standards and mandates for counter-service restaurants. AB 257 also erodes the authority of state enforcement entities like the Cal-OSHA Standards Board, the Labor Agency, and other state entities. This law would basically hand the car keys to an unelected commission with no training or expertise to regulate the restaurant community at the request of special interests. So what is the stated justification for this power grab? Proponents claim that this segment of the restaurant community has higher rates of workplace violations. What is inconvenient for the special interests pushing AB 257, the state of California's own enforcement data says that is false. There's also an entirely separate section of AB 257 which attacks those restaurants that have chosen the franchise business model. In that section, AB 257 will actually create disincentives for franchise restaurants to grow, leading to the evaporation of future economic opportunities for would-be operators, many of whom are people of color or immigrants. This would also impact job growth throughout the state and dismantle a business model that has allowed so many to get into business with relatively low barriers to entry. We have been lobbying against this outrageous overreach since June of 2021. Many of you have helped along the way, joining us in legislative committee testimony, contacting your lawmakers, attending meetings with us and your lawmakers, and for that, we thank you. But the work isn't done. This is our last shot at stopping this legislation. Many who are pushing for the bill's passage have clearly said full-service and independent restaurants are their next target to be subject to the whims of this unelected sector council. Watch your inboxes as we head toward the end of this month for another round of action alerts where we ask you to join us again in urging state senators to reject AB 257. That's the news you need to know. I'm Sabrina. Thank you for watching.